This episode is brought to you by the ultimate in men's grooming, Pete and Pedro. With shampoos for any hair type, conditioner to keep your hair healthy and strong, and 5 signature body washes, it's time to step up your shower game. They also have colognes that smell amazing, styling aids like clays and putties, and their signature sea salt spray that provides incredible volume and texture with a light hold. Not to mention a full shave line complete with safety razors, shave brushes, shaving cream, and post-shave balm. They're also the #1 spot to take your beard game to the next level. Personally, I have been using the hair putty and the natural sea salt spray, something you can put in your hair wet or dry, gives it a nice natural volume look. If you'd like to take advantage of the offer they hooked us up with today, you can do so by using the code AUTHENTIC15 to get 15% off your entire order. That's AUTHENTIC 15 to get 15% off of your entire order. You can do so by going to www.peteandpedro.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Authentic Podcast with Justin Douillard. And thank you for tuning in to another episode. It's time!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Authentic Podcast. And as always, thank you for tuning in. First episode of April, and pretty good timing with opening day not that long ago. I got Mr. Randall Thompson on with me, and Randall is the founder and CEO of Dugout Mugs, a former professional baseball player turned entrepreneur. So, Randall, how are you doing today?
Doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Doing great, man. I really appreciate you coming on. And I'll say that I found you on LinkedIn. I don't know how I found you. You popped up on my feed and I clicked on your stuff and it was really interesting. I just thought that was an interesting way to find somebody because you're the first person I've ever found for the podcast on LinkedIn. Most people it's through referral or Facebook or Instagram, the primary sources. But I just wanted to say to you, I love your LinkedIn content. LinkedIn can be kind of boring or kind of dry, but your stuff is good. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Just started writing a couple of weeks ago. Just kind of got inspired a little bit and just started writing some stuff, and it seems to be clicking all right. So I appreciate that.
It is. It's good. Someone on my feed liked it, and that's how I found you. But I enjoy it, and I'll let you go ahead and tell a little bit of a backstory about Dugout Mugs, and then I got some questions for you about some of your LinkedIn content. But go ahead and tell us what Dugout Mugs is and kind of how you got started in a nutshell.
Still working on the mission and vision statement. We've got it written down. I've got it in an email somewhere. We're like year 5 into the company, and Chris and I, my business partner, we were like, dude, we can't keep putting off this mission statement. And we're like looking at each other at year 5. I don't have it memorized quite yet, but the general gist of it is we create unique gifts that celebrate the heroes of the baseball community. And if we got a little bit more into the nitty gritty of things, we take the barrel of a baseball bat, chop it off and turn it into a drinking mug, do the same thing with the knob of a baseball bat. We turn that into a shot glass. And then we also create a little mini baseball bat wine glass. So if you think about the general shape of a baseball bat, you shrink it down to about 10 inches and turn it into hopefully one of your favorite Pinot glasses and a few other bottle opener options. But we just create unique baseball items that people typically buy for gifting reasons.
And I noticed, on Plate Crates podcast, you said, I guess we'll dive right into this. You said you got a new product coming out around Father's Day, and you said you think this is something that you said it could be a billion dollar idea. So I know you can't elaborate on that a whole lot, but obviously you're growing from when you started 5 years ago. So right. I guess you're just going to continue to create more products such as this because you started with the mug and now you seem to kind of develop and move forward with that. So
yeah, that's the dream, to be able to continue to create products that the baseball community relates with and connects with. And I've since I've said that on Josh's podcast, I've had some more time to reflect on that. And I think it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar product. I think I might have sold myself short a little bit on billion-dollar, but in perpetuity, for the existence of baseball, I feel like it has the chance to be a multi-billion-dollar product.
And so why wait? And what's the wait? Is it not finished yet, or you're just not ready to quite reveal it? Or
yeah, it's in a design phase and kind of going back and forth, and there's a little bit of a longer process that's taking place with this product versus what the wood product. If I had a wood product idea, it's something that we could ramp up pretty quickly, but it's a different material other than wood, and it's taken a little bit longer to kind of get it off the ground.
And as an entrepreneur and a business owner, I'm sure you have patents or certain trademarks and such. Is this going to be something that's kind of like the first of its kind, and you trademark and patent and stuff like that? Or
yeah, it's unique. We did file a patent for it. And in general, I think that's our business model: is we innovate or create products, and at least I know from my side of things, that's the only way that I really see business. Is it's so much better and easier to just compete against nobody. So whenever you create your unique selling proposition, this USP that everybody tells you that you got to have, it's not so critical because your USP is whatever you're creating, and that's what makes you unique. And I find that to be kind of the fun part of business, is creating items that no one's ever seen before. So, and my business partner, he's the absolute king of promotion, absolute king of sales. You can't walk into a room and not know Chris. So the combination between us two has just been a really near perfect marriage.
yeah, I had noticed in several of your other interviews, you said you and your business partner. How did you find this guy? Is he a friend, or once you got into the business, is someone you just kind of linked up with, or?
2016, I launched Dugout Mugs, and I was about 6 months, maybe 4 or 5 months into the business. And I was just looking for ways of doing things at a bigger scale. I'm part of this Facebook group that's a collection of a bunch of ex-major league and minor league baseball players. And Chris was on there trying to push these tickets to a country concert that I was going to. And Chris didn't play professional baseball. So I don't know why he was in that group or how he got in that group, but that sounds like Chris now knowing him. And so I just clicked on his profile to see who he was, because I was going to that country concert already. And I saw that he was in Tampa, and I saw that he was in business in some capacity. So I Googled him, and I saw that he sold a bunch of T-shirts online. So I sent him a message, and I just said, "Hey, I just started this. Send him the link. About $50,000 in the sales here, and I'm just trying to figure out how to sell more." And he was at a conference in St. Pete where I was living at the time. Told me to swing by. We met in the bar lobby, drank a beer, and probably about 2 or 3 months later, we started working together.
So you found this stranger in a Facebook group who wasn't probably supposed to be in there, and now he's your lifelong business partner. So
right.
Sounds like he weaseled his way in there looking for some of you guys trying to do some things. So,
Chris does a lot of things that makes me scratch my head in a good way. Like how the hell did he pull that off? But he really is. I mean, he's so dynamic. He's so good. He's strategically, he's a deal maker. He's the best strategic deal maker I've ever met in my life. And it's not like he spins you around a bunch of times and you're like, yeah, that's a great idea. He legitimately structures things to be a win-win. And he does a really, really good job of it.
This is something I like to ask, or would like to ask you on the foundational level. Because I mean, I love entrepreneurs. I love to follow them. I aspire to be one day. And I watch a lot of Shark Tank, stuff like that. Read all the books. And when you're getting started, I know, capital typically is like one of the biggest roadblocks. For you, was that a pretty big issue getting in early? Because I know sometimes people, they can't scale because they don't have capital. They stay from small biz, but you've created it into a, multi-million-dollar deal. So I guess, do you have any reflections or stories on getting started with capital? Did you have any difficulties in that?
No. What my version of capital was, I worked a full-time job while putting that money back into what was, I guess, my dream of being a business owner, which was Dugout Mugs. And then I even sometimes worked another job and then another job. And I just bootstrapped the whole thing. For the most part, it started with $15,000 that I saved up, put it into my business account. And like you said, I've turned it into a multi-million-dollar company.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what you said on your LinkedIn post, but something along the lines of eating off $2.50 a day or some crap, eating junk for like 6 months just so you could, save extra money. So.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I tell people that want to get into this, is that it's not for everybody, because it is tough. It's difficult. You got to really want to do it in order to do it. Because you'll quit eventually. It's challenging. It's the most challenging thing I've ever done in my life. Things have kind of calmed down now, but there was years that I was just tossing and turning in bed, and just not knowing if the business is actually going to work. And then you kind of get to a level and you're like, is this going to sustain? And I'm finally starting to kind of rest well. But yeah, eating like shit for sure. I lived in my sister's backyard, which was a blessing. I only paid $400 a month in rent. But all sorts of things, work a few jobs, flip some stuff to try to make some extra money. It's just, when you want to do it bad enough, you just figure out how to make it happen. And sometimes funding is that answer.
Yeah, I know on the previous podcast I listened to with you, you said you were driving a paint truck or a paint delivery truck.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you had also said you've always thought you were going to be an entrepreneur, but you were at a point in your life whenever you were just kind of stuck. You were doing, coaching lessons and so forth. So I guess my question on that is, this was your light bulb moment, but did you have any other things in the pipeline until this happened? Ideas that got tossed out, or you were just waiting for that opportunity and it just kind of struck you?
So the way it all shook out was, I was coaching college. I played in the Blue Jays organization from 2011 to 2012, got released in 2012, went and coached college baseball in 2013/2014. Had the idea for a bat barrel turned into a drinking mug in 2014. Realized that I didn't want to coach baseball. I wanted to be creative. So I took a ad agency internship over in St. Pete, Florida. Moved over there. At this point, I had like $200 and had no job. That internship wasn't paying me. So I went and got a job as a waiter at a taco place. And worked there during the nights, worked the internship during the days. Both fell apart at the same time. I just left the internship because it was just kind of shitty. And the waiter job, I just got fired. I wasn't very good. I've never waited before. I wasn't a very good waiter. And so out of desperation, really, I'm an idea machine. And I was living in my sister's backyard at the time, barely had enough money to buy cereal. I was sleeping on the floor, and I kind of looked in the mirror. I was like, what the hell's up with you, dude? Like, what is your life? And so out of desperation, I just said, what is the one idea that seems easy enough that you could actually do it? And I reached in my back pocket and I thought to myself, I feel like I could put a hole in a bat barrel and turn it into a mug. I know the market. I don't know anything about woodworking, but it seemed simple enough that I could figure it out. And right around that time, I got a call from Sherwin-Williams, and they said, hey, do you want to drive this paint delivery van? The hours are from 7 to 3. And I said, sure. So I worked from about 7 to 3 driving a paint delivery van, and then met a guy that was a painter, and he hired me for the weekends at $20 an hour. And I painted during the weekends, and then all that money that I was making, I was just funneling back into trying to create a bat barrel mug. And that's how it all came to be.
The rest is history, huh?
Yeah.
I got a buddy who is a customer. I told him that I was going to have you on, and I didn't know he had bought your mugs, but he listens to all my stuff and big baseball guy. And he said, yeah, nice. I bought some of those. And he did want to say he is impressed and he loves them.
Nice.
He was going to ask, did you ever have the idea or a future idea to try and use a game used bat? Is that something that's crossed your mind or in the pipeline?
Yeah, that's where the whole concept started in my mind was game used, break your bat. It's now worthless. It's a $250 wood bat from Marucci. Send it to us. We'll bore out the center. We'll do what we need to do with it and send it back to you. And now you have a mug. It's not very scalable. That's the issue, is that it, in theory, it's a great idea. And someday Dugout mugs might have a game used authentic MLB edition where it is somebody swinging a bat and we turn it into a mug. One of the coolest things that we've ever done as a company is we got contacted by Stan Musial's daughter, and she asked us to convert 4 of his baseball bats into mugs for her kids for Christmas, and we did it, and that's probably about as cool as it gets.
Yeah, absolutely. Wanted to ask a couple of questions about some of your customers. So having Gary Vee as a customer, pretty big name guy. How did that work out? I mean, did you guys know he was a customer just because you saw his pictures and videos, or?
I don't know the backstory behind it. It's something that Chris facilitated. Go figure. So Chris being my business partner, I don't know. I have no idea. But it's just kind of the Chris special. I think that years ago, Chris connected with Gary at some sort of conference before he really blew up. Chris has been an entrepreneur for about, I think, like 15 years or so. He's about 10 years older than I am. And I think he's connected with him in some capacity, and that got facilitated that way. But I don't know the full story.
I'm going to assume that's brought you tons of business, right? I mean, having that on Gary Vee's wall, or?
I don't know. It's hard to quantify. It's tough to look at certain scenarios and quantify the ripple of things. So I don't know. Maybe at least from a social proof perspective, probably somebody sees that and it adds a certain amount of credibility to it. I have to imagine creates some sort of monetary value, but I don't know how to quantify it.
How hard was it to get? I know you said was it in 28 out of the 30 MLB stadiums? Is that right?
Well, 30 now.
All 30 now? Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. Difficult, but not as like when I look back on the path of things, nothing too crazy. 2017, we went to have you ever been to an MLB winter meetings?
No, I haven't.
So it's where all the trades go on and where all the who's who meet up, and it's just like anybody and everybody baseball. 2017, we went to our first winter meetings, and we had just a 10 by 10 booth for our trade show or for the trade show, and our booth was just blowing up with people. And really, when you create something unique, that's something that nobody's ever seen before, the market, especially now knowing what I know about the hard goods market from a MLB licensing standpoint, the market was just thirsty for something. It's all kind of the same shit just being facilitated, and kind of just it's all the same stuff. So when we came to town with something different, team buyers, MLB team buyers, they wanted it in their stores. So it wasn't. Chris and I talk about this, but it's almost like we just have to share the mug with people. We don't necessarily have to sell it to them, and we're blessed in that way that the market has seen it, they've accepted it, they want it. Now we just have to show it to them. So, no, not really, like nothing really incredibly tough. Just created a great product and people want it, and we're blessed in that way.
Yeah, that's all. A lot of good businesses, that's their pitches. It kind of sells itself. You just, as you said, you got to get it in the face of people. They're the right people. So,
right.
I saw your post about hiring a guy on the side of the road with a resume. Is that a true story?
Oh yeah, definitely true.
You see those all the time online about those kind of unique stories about someone different like that trying to stand out. So tell me a little bit about that. Is he still with you guys, or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's his exact title is director of customer service, and since he's grown to have about 4 people that he's managing on our customer service team. I was driving down the road, and I saw a guy with a sign that said, "Have you seen my resume?" Dressed just like normally, and like collared shirt and tucked in. And I was like, well, I mean, if anybody's going to stand out, it's Florida summer, just sweating his ass off. Well, let me take a look at it. And sure enough, I looked at it. We needed a lot of help. It was right around Father's Day, I think 2 years ago. So right around this time, 2 years ago. And Brad, he was an Army vet, brought him in, was with our warehouse manager and said, tell me about yourself. And then within like 2 or 3 minutes, I just said, well, if you want to start tomorrow, you can start tomorrow. And sure enough, he did. And he's still with us a couple of years later.
Wow. That's amazing. Did he have anybody else kind of give him any attention, or were you the only guy?
I have no idea. Never asked him. Probably should ask him. But I'd like to think that he was a hot item and he decided to go with Dugout mugs, but who knows? Somebody did a story about it. Somebody did a write-up about it. Not that he got hired off the street by Dugout mugs, but that he was out there handing out his resume. But yeah, I don't know. I should ask him if he ever got any other bites other than us.
Yeah, I mean, he may not have had time, but it'd be interesting to see if anybody else gave him a shot or not. But I thought that was really neat. So, wanted to ask about the Barstool Sports deal. I saw that you posted. Can you talk much on that at all? Or, I mean, that's huge. So,
yeah, I can say what I know, and I don't know very much. From like a marketing and promotion standpoint, I'm not overly involved in the company, so I don't know the intricate details of the deal. I know dollar figures and what it's going to cost us to work with them, and but otherwise, it's my understanding.
Are they just promoting you guys, or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just my understanding that we're going to work together to leverage their audience with our products and try to sell them. I don't beyond that. I don't know what the details of it are.
Are you a Barstool fan?
No. I'm not. Honestly, I'm pretty boring. I'm not much of a fan of anything. I got like my wife, my 2 cats, and my business, and beyond that, I don't really pay attention to much. So I wish I had hobbies. I wish I was interested in stuff. Like when the Bucks won the Super Bowl, I was like, man, I wish I could really have got into the season, been a Tom Brady fan, been a Gronk fan, because I live 40 minutes from Tampa. It would have been nice to be able to get into that, but I can't do it. I don't know what it is. My attention, I can't pay attention to anything unless I really, really care.
At the least, you should have got it on that boat parade, dude. I don't know if you saw that. But
Yeah,
that was legit.
I saw that. That was funny. The how they were showing like Tom in Tampa versus Tom in New England, and like,
oh yeah, whole
just
different
let him
guy.
loose. Yeah, I love it.
He was throwing the Lombardi Trophy from yacht to yacht, and then
I know.
got super drunk. And
Yeah, it's funny.
yeah, it looked like a great time. It looked like one of the cooler Super Bowl parades I've ever seen. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was neat. They're out in the bay, and I guess Lombardi's like daughter got upset with that whole trophy toss thing. I'm just like, come on now.
yeah, I saw that. Well, I don't know. You said you don't have a lot of hobbies or don't follow sports a whole lot. It sounds like, but a couple years ago, Gronk actually dented the Lombardi Trophy.
I didn't know that.
I think it was from a baseball. Ironically, they were playing around with it, acting like a baseball bat, and they threw the baseball, and he swung at it. It like left a huge dent in the real trophy. So
That's disrespectful too, but oh well. He's Gronk. You can't get mad at Gronk, I don't think.
oh yeah, and I could be wrong, but I feel like those things look a lot more expensive than they are to make. I don't know. That could be totally wrong, but
I have no idea.
I think they can afford it. So that's something I was going to stem back to. We were talking. You said you're not involved in the marketing a whole lot, whatnot. As the big guy now, the CEO and founder, what are you doing on a daily basis with the business? Are you everywhere in the shop doing all kinds of stuff, or does it change a lot?
Yeah, it does change a lot. Whenever somebody asks me that, I always go, Somehow I wake up so I tell everybody Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm available. And then I say if I have to work a few hours on Saturday, I do it. And I completely take off Sundays. And when somebody says, well, what do you do all day? I kind of like look back and I go, I don't really know. Somehow I don't work from 6 to 6 every single day, but I'm available. But I definitely start my mornings at 6 a.m. And I would say most days I'm done around 4 o'clock. But what gets occupied in those 10-hour days, the 50 hours a week, I go, I don't know. Everybody comes to me with all sorts of problems always, and I always have a solution. So I think my day just gets gobbled up by kind of just being the catch-all for all sorts of issues.
Just put out little fires all day.
Little fires. And we're starting to build out the management staff, and that creates an extra buffer from a bunch of people to that management staff to me. So they're catching that stuff. So I'm getting less and less that's flowing up to me. And hopefully by Christmas this year, I'll have a complete management staff where there's almost nothing that flows up to me unless it's a really big issue. But yeah, I would say that my day-to-day looks like, where does somebody need help? What do they need? What's going on? What solutions can I bring? How can I make things a little bit more efficient? Yeah, that would be my day-to-day.
So I'm going to assume that you started as like a one-man shop. It was just you, and then you kind of built onto that. But you said, you had this idea, but you had no woodworking experience for something that requires woodworking. So how does that work?
Yeah. We're in the very beginning of things, where it started was me buying craft bats, which are bats that just have blemishes on them that no one's ever going to swing. Me cutting them with hand saws, putting them on vices, and trying to drill into them with just a hand drill with like a spade bit. It was a disaster, and it was never going to work. I bought a drill press, a floor drill press. Didn't know you had to latch this mug into the drill press. So I got the thing spinning at a certain RPM, and I tried to drop it onto the mug, and it just dug into, with a Forstner bit, just dug into the mug and slung it against the wall. And I paid like $800 for this drill press. And I immediately said, oh no, what did I do? I'm never going to figure this out. So I cleaned it really nice, and I put it back in a box, and I returned it. Sorry, Harbor Freight. Yeah, so it started with me trying to do all this stuff, and there was just no way that it was going to happen. So I was like, okay, I need a manufacturer. I go and I find this dude. His name is Flash Gordon. No lie. Probably a nickname of some sort, but he had just a killer mullet. And I found him in St. Pete. And I was like, hey, Flash, like, I'm trying to manufacture this. I just need 100 units. And he's like, I know exactly who we need to go to. I'm like, okay, great. So he calls me up like 2 or 3 days later, and he's like, hey, dude, I got us a quote, 100 units. It's going to cost us $77 a unit. And I'm like, what? I'm like, $77 a unit? I'm like, what am I going to have to sell these for in order to make this work? So I said, all right, sorry, Flash, that ain't going to work. And I drove all over St. Pete trying to figure out, what the hell do I need? I worked with this guy named John Stein for a long time. He was a woodworker. He wasn't a wood turner. I needed a wood turner. I didn't know I needed a wood turner. I was going to machinists. I was going to all sorts of things. And for some reason, nobody could just tell me, dude, you just need a wood turner. Get out of my face. And so I finally linked up with a company called Tomahawk Bat Company, who now my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, said, hey, one of my friends started a bat company in like Wales. Do you want me to connect you? And then so they started doing the small scale manufacturing, and that's where it started. And now we've since moved out of there, and we have our own operation. But that's all where it started, was ironically my wife's hometown.
How many employees do you got working for you now? Full-timers?
I don't know. Maybe around 30. Okay.
I also saw the post about the gentleman from Vietnam. That was a unique story too. So.
Oh yeah. Tan. We've been working with Tan for about 3 years, and he just moved into. We've been in the same building, but he just moved. He had to go from about 2,000 square feet. Now he just moved into a building that's 8,000 square feet. but he's grown just with us. And Tan has been my favorite guy to work with. Does exactly what he says he's going to do. Never over promises. Executes on everything that his word is. Whatever he tells me, I believe it, which is really, really rare, unfortunately, for the business side of things. But yeah, Tan has been incredible.
Where did you find him? Not on the side of the road with a resume?
Oh, no. Chris was in business with somebody that knew him. That it just kind of all got connected in that way.
So when you found Chris, obviously you had an interest in him, but did you ever legitimately think that you guys would grow into this multi-million-dollar idea together as partners? Or
I don't know, man. I really don't know. I like to think yes. I used to think to myself, if I wanted to start a company and grow it to $1 million companies, I could do that. And like, I kind of just talk out of my ass and not really know what that means. But there's so much hard work that goes into it now. And now I see how rare doing something like this is. I mean, there's something inside of me that told me that we could do it. But what that actually meant, I didn't know. But maybe I like to think yes, but I'm not sure.
Do you have other ideas as far as different business entities? Because obviously this is goods for customers and it's in the baseball realm. But now you said you're always got a creative mind, and now you've probably got the capital to maybe do something. Is your mind spinning to do other things completely unrelated in the business world, or are you kind of sticking with this alley you got?
A little bit, but for the most part, I'm one track minded, and it would be it wouldn't be in my best interest to look at something that's growing at 300% this year and say, I'm going to take my eye off that prize to go do something over here. Wealth is there's a saying that wealth is created in concentration. So the more concentrated that you are, the deeper you get and avoid getting wide. That's the most sure way to build wealth. So yeah, the creative in me goes, man, maybe I could do this and that. But then the other, whether it's the devil or the angel, I don't know. The other guy goes, dude, lock in. Like, you got a once in a lifetime opportunity to grow this thing to a whole nother level. So do it.
Just stick to what you're good at for now.
Yeah.
I know you said one of your favorite quotes is shit is the best fertilizer. So do you have any other advice for aspiring entrepreneurs or someone starting out, anything other than the generics, the basics? I hear, you read a lot of books and see a lot of the same quotes, but do you have anything different?
Well, that's the, I think, I don't think there's any different. There's not very much of a difference between people. There's no shortage on capital. There's money everywhere. There's good ideas everywhere. Getting in front of people is as easy as it's ever been with the internet. The one thing that lacks amongst everybody is just the grit and the willingness to do it. So I guess kind of just check yourself before you even decide to jump in the pool. And if you jump in, then swim, but just be ready to swim. And that's what I would say. That's the best advice I can give, is just, if you're going to do it, just do it. Give it everything you got and don't make excuses, and just do it.
You ever go back and give credit to your old coach or the guy you were working with that was drilling the bat in half? You're like, you were my light bulb idea?
Every once in a while, I'll talk to him and he'll say, I'm still waiting on my royalty checks.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Of course. I'll smack his ass every once in a while when I see him in a baseball way. Just like, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. got a couple quick questions for you, just some rapid fire, and then we'll let you go, man. We're almost at our time limit, and like I said, I appreciate you having you on. But Sammy Sosa or Mark McGuire?
The Big Mac for sure.
Okay. Uh, favorite player of all time?
David Eckstein.
Okay. And this is a personal question I like to ask everybody. Obviously, it sounds like you're a country fan, Blake Shelton fan, and then you said you were at a country concert. But name a couple of songs that get you pumped up, or something you're hot on right now? What do you listen to when you work out?
Well, first, let me say this. This might be a little hippy dippy, but sometimes I think that music is like, it modifies your motivation, and it spikes you up, and it's not good for like long-term inspiration. It just kind of gets you to a motivated state, then breaks you down. So sometimes I like to get myself to a certain level without music.
Oh, you sound like David Goggins, man. You know who that is?
No.
Oh my gosh, he's this crazy Navy SEAL who's like insanely hardcore, and that's all he's about, is not creating dependency. And he's like, he runs like 100-mile races without music because he says it's a crutch and it's not always going to be there. So that's who you sound like.
Yeah, it is. David Goggins. I'll take a peek at him, but either way, for enjoyment, for music for enjoyment. But to that same point, in the very beginning of me doing all this, sometimes I needed those hits of motivation. But you can't, like, I would watch YouTube videos of like Will Smith and him talking about like how anything's possible and like all sorts of things. Sometimes you need that in life, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it gets you started when you need to get started. It's just, the issue becomes whenever you spend more time just consuming that than actually doing stuff, is, at least for me, my circumstance is different than anybody else's circumstance. Blanket advice is such shit. So anyways, rant, just to get to the point of like, oh man, kind of been on a rap kick lately. Been listening to a lot of Joyner Lucas, Jack Harlow.
Oh yeah, I like Jack right now.
Yeah. There was a song that I heard the other day that I really liked by the Masked Wolf. It's something about like astronauts in the ocean or something like that. Have you heard that song?
No, I haven't.
It's good. But yeah, I've been on a rap kick lately. I don't know why, but usually not too crazy on the rap, but anything that sounds good, I'm in on.
Yeah, I've been on a big Jack Harlow kick. Obviously, he's really popular right now, but I watch some of his stuff on YouTube and his interviews, and he's just so genuine. And he's kind of an odd guy for rap, and just kind of embraces it. And it just seems like he didn't really change who he was to become a rapper. It said he, being a little white dude from Kentucky, he obviously had a lot of doubters, but he kind of just took that and went with it. So
yeah, if you ever are scouring the internet, speaking of white rappers, somebody that I think is a literal genius, creative genius, is Little Dicky.
Oh yeah, I know Little Dicky.
He's so smart. And I don't know if you've ever seen a show Dave, but it's just, I don't know. He's a creative genius in my mind. But check out some of his stuff. He's a smart cat.
Yeah, I don't follow him a lot, but I have listened to his music, and I can't remember the name of the song right now, but he was in a really big rap song with, really successful and famous rappers one time, and it just kind of blew me away because I think at the time he wasn't that big, or it just seemed weird that, because, he based on his character. But I remember watching his like funny rap videos like 6 and 7 years ago, and
right.
And then I think it was on Saturday Night Live or something. I watched his interview. A little 10-minute clip was good about how he told his parents what he was doing, and they just laughed at him. And he raised all this money to do it. But yeah, interesting guy for sure. So, but man, that's it. I know we're on a time crunch, and it was good stuff. And I appreciate your time. And if you want, go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you. And as always, I'll add the links to the show as well. So,
okay. Great. Yeah. We're on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all Dugout Mugs, at Dugout Mugs, dugoutmugs.com. And then Randall Thompson just on LinkedIn if you want to personally connect.
Yeah. And then can you give us I know you mentioned around Father's Day with the timeline of the new product. Is that what you're sticking to? A little before, a little after?
Probably after. The way things are trending now, I would say maybe a couple of weeks after Father's Day.
You got a special plan for the release, or do you just, hey, here's the product, put it out, drop it, it's on sale?
I don't know. We're talking about all of the conversations going on right now are about Mother's Day and Father's Day. We have a black painted Dugout mug that's coming out for Father's Day. That's going to be MLB licensed. We did cherry stain last year and that did really well. But we're kind of talking about all the promotions and all the
timing of it,
what the next 3 months look like. And then probably in the next 60 days or so, we'll start talking about how we're going to go to market and roll out this new product.
Did you time it on purpose to be in the middle of baseball season in the summer?
No, we didn't. But it seems as if that, like looking at it now, it seems as if that this is all going to come out at just the perfect time. So, and that's all. You just gotta have faith that everything's just going to shake out exactly the way it's supposed to. It's trending right now. So
yeah, well, it sounds like it did, man. Well, Randall, I appreciate your time, and hopefully people check you out a little more after listening to the show. And like I said, I wish you continued success. It sounds like you're doing great, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for your time.
Yep, talk to you soon.
Yep, bye.